You can see it right now volcanoing again, and that's what you're kind of wanting. You wanted to stick blend it until it volcanoes, stir it down, stick blend it, stir, stick blend. Welcome back, friends. It is Lauren the Soap Witch, and it is time for another edition of In the Making. So in this one, I am taking a break from still showing off my new line of permanent for now, aloe vera soap bars, and I'm leaning into my new winter soaps. There's only 2. I'm acting like there's 50, but anyway, this is going to be the first one. It's called Perilous Prophecies. You know I like foolish names, and the fragrance is Blue Spruce, which I threw in another color at the last minute, though you don't see me thinking of that. The wheels were turning and I just did it while I was making the soap. Anyway, so you just saw me measure out my lye, and then I measured out my aloe vera juice, and now that is the sodium lactate, which is basically liquid salt, and then I'm going in with my sugar. And so the last 2 ingredients that I added into the aloe vera juice are to help make the soap stay fluid, as this is fluid hot process, or known as countertop hot process, and they also help to make a harder bar of soap that is very bubbly. Okay, so now I'm going to add in my lye into my liquid. You always add the lye to the liquid, never the other way around. And so obviously it's kind of milky looking, and since it's not water, it won't ever go back clear, but it will become less milky, and that's when I'm ready to combine it with my melted oils. So I don't know if you can tell but I got some smaller, I already had a smaller crock pot. Let me stop cutting myself off. I'm so bad about that. And so I got 2 matching ones because I like to make 2 batches back to back. And so I'm just testing it out to see if my theory is correct and if the smaller crock pot will make a difference with these small batches. So I combined my oils, my melted oils, and my lye. I like to do that around 200 degrees, no less than 180, and then I start stick blending. So in this video, I actually remembered the process for like stick blending it pretty much to completion. So I did actually successfully finish that process in this video, because you know I've been talking about it the last 2 videos. So you stick blend it well past trace. That's me checking the temperature, just making sure things are not going awry. They weren't anyway. So you stick blend it well past trace. It actually starts to look like it starts to separate a little bit. I don't know if that ever really becomes clear in the video. It even starts to get to that point where it sort of looks like it's like boiling, because it does get very hot, because you're kind of forcing it to go through all the changes really quickly by using this method. So you stick blend and stir kind of at the same time, and that's really the method behind this madness. You can see that it's really thick, and I'm sort of having trouble just stick blending it through. That's normal. That's what you want. This will wear out your stick blender though, but I have like 3 just so I don't necessarily have to use them back to back if one is already kind of heated up. So at that point, I just went in with my whisk and stirred it up some, since I did see like it was separating. So I just really whisked, what is wrong with my mouth? It all together. And then I went back in with the stick blender. It's thick and you want it to stay thick, and you're looking to stick blend it all the way to pretty much completion. So you can see that it is turning as I stir and stick blend. The consistency is starting to change. That is exactly what I'm looking for. And so I am going through, it started to volcano a little bit, so I just went in and stirred it some because anybody got time, and then went back in with the stick blender to stick blend and stir some more. You can see again the consistency and coloring just wanting to change as I go through with the process. You can see it right now volcanoing again, and that's what you're kind of wanting. You wanted to stick blend it until it volcanoes, stir it down, stick blend it, stir, stick blend until it volcanoes, stir it down, and it's just a back and forth process until your soap is done pretty much. So I am stirring here and stirring, and then I time-lapsed this just so you could see the volcano happening there. It happened a little slower than that. And I mean, this soap is really getting done. We're getting mashed potato-y here really quickly. And so I'm just stirring that up and watching that kind of transform, if you will, from mashed potato to pretty much completed soap. I mean, and that's how that's done. That's it. It's finished, y'all. So I was so excited that I actually remembered this method. I tried it when I was doing the fall soaps, but yeah, the pot was too big and it didn't work out. So that's my full fat Greek yogurt. You do not need to have full fat or Greek yogurt. It can just be plain. It needs to be plain, but that's just my preference. So that's what I add in. The yogurt is also to help with fluidity as well. So I just stir that up, whisk it up. I want to make sure it's fully incorporated. Look how nicely fluid that is compared to the troubles that I was having with the fall soaps. It's beautiful. I was real happy to realize that the smaller pot did make a difference with the smaller batch, because you know, more heat was escaping basically with that big pot. Anywho, so now it's time to measure out the Blue Spruce fragrance. It smells so good. Forgive my son talking in my voiceover. If you hear him, you don't hear him. Okay, anyway, so then I'm measuring out the colorants here. And at first I was only just going to do green, but I was like, it's Blue Spruce. How I'm not gonna have blue in it? So the blue is peacock blue, and the green I think is called maniacal P. They're both from Mad Micas. You know how I love them. They make beautiful, vibrant colorants for soap and other cosmetics if you're looking for that. But they kind of have where you can search for what you're making, what type of cosmetic you're making. It'll tell you which ones are best for that. In goes the titanium dioxide. I hate the mess of it, but I like how it makes a really good vibrant white in soap, so I just put up with the mess and make sure I clean it up really soon after, so it doesn't have time to stick around and settle. No thanks. So here I'm now just stirring the colorants into the oils that I reserved from the recipe from when I first started pouring the oils. Okay, let me stop repeating myself. Look at that blue. It is just a beautiful. Okay, and now I'm gonna finally stir up the green and get those all together. And now I'm pretty much all ready to get going with separating out my soap so that I can add the colors and get my final steps here. So I am gonna add my fragrance, of course. Man, I was so scarred that one time I almost forgot to put the fragrance in the soap. Whole batch would have been ruined. Not this time, but I still remember. I'm still scarred. Moving on. So I like to thoroughly incorporate that. Make sure I give it a nice thorough stir, because if I don't, I tend to have loose oil kind of in the bottom of the pot instead of having it fully incorporated in the soap. I don't like that. And now I'm going to separate the soap out into my different cups so that I can color it for the pour. And so that's what we're doing here in this step. And I use my scale because I kind of have, like, you know, a certain amount of colorant matches a certain weight of soap, like 1 pound of soap for, you know, so many teaspoons of colorant, you know, etc. Only I changed the teaspoons to grams because it's just more accurate that way, and then I don't have to have a specific size spoon to do my measurements, if that makes sense. So now I'm just gonna stop rambling and add my colorants to the soap, and then I just take a spatula and stir that in. I make sure I give it a nice thorough stir because I don't want any bits of uncolored soap in the final product, because it's just not pretty. It's not fun. Okay, anyway, so just getting those thoroughly incorporated. You'll have to forgive my nonsense. It's just gonna happen. I don't know how to stop it. I probably wouldn't stop it if I could. Anyway, so just getting those thoroughly incorporated. I want to make sure, like I said, that it's fully incorporated. These colorants are so vibrant and beautiful. I love Mad Micas. Okay, anyway, so finally getting those all stirred in, that last colorant done, and now it's time to bring out my mold and start the pour. So you know I like to pour contrasting order, if you will. So I'm going to go in with the green first. I just picked green. There was no method to that. I just was like green and it went first. Okay, and so I'm just going to slosh that around and kind of slam it on the top of the table just to make sure it's evenly coating the bottom of the mold, and then going in with the white and then going in with the blue, and then I just kind of randomly pour color and then white, and then pour color and then white. Just because the white is obviously the contrasting color. And I went back in with blue because I had used so much of the green to coat the bottom. Anyway, so finally it's time for the fairy dust, because you know I have to have a nice coating of glitter because it's fun. Why not? And also the silver glitter sort of reminds me of snow a little bit, you know, Christmassy, wintry. Okay, so and then I just take my metal chopstick and swirl the tops. You don't have to swirl the tops. I just think it's fun. And so I didn't like do a hanger swirl or anything, because I was sort of doing what I call a modified drop swirl, where I kind of hold the containers high above the mold and just pour and hope for the best. Okay, so they said this, I said they, I'm used to doing 3 loaves at a time, but it's only 1. So this sat in the freezer for about 5 hours, and then I took it out, let it thaw. And you all know why I let it thaw before I cut, because I broke a cutter once. I'm gonna bring it up every time because I'm still scarred. So I take it out the mold. I'm very gentle with it because I don't want to have any indentations or damage the loaf of soap. Is it a loaf? Whatever, it's close enough. Anyway, so I'm gonna bring my cutter down, and then I move the whole loaf of soap over and just pick up the 1 bar, and then that is pretty, right? Oh my god. Okay, so then I wipe the wire with a paper towel so that I don't bring residue through the next cut. I scoot the whole thing over so that it's flush against the cutter, and then bring it down again, and then I repeat all of these steps for every single cut. Yep, that's how I do it. So I really love how this soap turned out. I thought it was really beautiful, and I was really excited for it, especially considering I almost didn't do it. So if you like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and clicking the notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads, and give this video a like. All right, see you later, friends.